Have you seen these beautiful fresh carrot arrangements for spring and Easter? Hi, my name is Rebecca. Welcome to my channel. I was so excited when I happened to see these beautiful fresh carrot arrangements, and I thought that they were gorgeous, so gorgeous in fact that I wanted to recreate one that I could keep for longer than just perhaps a week. So come craft with me. I purchased this container at Walmart for $4.98, and I picked up a 2-pack of the foam craft disc at Dollar Tree. They're about 4 inches. And then I have some reindeer moss. I purchased this resin on Temu. Dollar Tree has the same bottles in their plus section for $5. And then also at Walmart, I purchased 3 hydrangea picks for $3.98 a piece. And then I'm going to use 2 packs of the carrot picks that I purchased at the Dollar Tree. And then I have some bamboo skewers that I had in my craft stash that I'm going to use as well. Once I get all of the tags and everything unwrapped, I am ready to get down to business. Now the hydrangea stems are very, very thick, and the stems are very, very thick. So I'm keeping that in mind when I started the project. Now I'm going to take a little bit of hot glue and put it on the top of one of these craft foam discs, and I put a good amount of hot glue on this. Not enough to melt the foam, but just enough because I wanted it to be very sturdy, and I knew it was going to be holding a lot of weight. Plus the hydrangea stems are very thick. And then I put the 2 pieces of foam together and held it until it was nice and the glue had dried and it was very secure. I measured the top. I kind of held my foam disc up to the top of my container, and then I started putting my bamboo skewers into each side of the foam disc. And I made sure that I did not put it anywhere close to where the 2 lines were, where the 2 were glued together, that I went really underneath that line so that it would be nice and heavy and I could put a little bit of weight on it. I'm always checking my work, so I set it on top of the container to make sure that it was going to work the way I thought it was going to in my head. And then I started putting some hot glue on the top and spreading out the reindeer moss. I just put a little bit of hot glue and then a nice chunk of the reindeer moss on there and kind of spread it out. And I wasn't really sure how much I wanted to put on, so I didn't want to go hog wild and pig crazy and just dump a whole bunch on there and waste my product. I wanted to make sure that it was had a nice cover to it, but if some of the foam does show through, it's not going to show. So it does not have to be fully covered. And then once I figured out how long my skewers needed to be so that it would not slip off the top, then I just took my bandage shears that I use for crafting all the time and I clipped my skewers off. After I had done that step, that is when I went through with some hot glue and the reindeer moss, and I started covering up the sides of my floral foam because I knew if anything was going to show, it would be the sides. And I also wanted to make sure that I put enough reindeer moss on the sides to kind of put a little bit on those skewers and cover those skewers up so that nobody could necessarily see what was holding up the floral that I was going to put on the top. Now this is not the cleanest project that you can do. It is going to be messy. That reindeer moss just goes all over the place and it scatters everywhere. So if you've worked with reindeer moss, you know. I chose to purchase these hydrangeas at Walmart because I felt like they were very good, realistic looking florals for the price of the pick. You can use Dollar Tree florals if you like. You don't have to use hydrangeas. You can use a spring mix. But I will tell you that these are hard little suckers to cut. They gave me a run for my money. And I cut them probably about 3.5 inches from the head. And then I just poked them down into my floral foam. I had a very specific idea in mind on how I wanted my dining room table to look. And so that is why I went with just the hydrangeas and the simplicity. I did pick the leaves off and I piled them to the side because I'm going to use them. I'm going to use all of those leaves. But I had a very specific idea in mind on how I wanted this to look. And everybody's decor is different and everybody's taste is different. And so that is why I say you can use any florals that you want from Hobby Lobby or Michael's or the Dollar Tree. Anything will accomplish this. I picked off those leaves off of the stem, and then I just started hot gluing them where I thought that they looked more natural and where it needed a little bit of greenery in between my hydrangea pieces. What I had in mind were the hydrangeas that I used to pick off of the little bushes in the yard and bring in to my mom when I was growing up. And they would all be just kind of bunched together and she would put them in a vase. And I was kind of going for that look and something that just was reminiscent of spring and summer and kind of had a natural flowy look to it. Once I had all of the greenery kind of hot glued and tucked in where I thought it needed to be, then I was ready to move on to the next phase of the project and my next step. And I kind of just fluffed out my hydrangeas, and then I made sure that it was going to set perfectly even and everything was going to set on my container just fine. That's when I started measuring my carrot picks to know exactly how short that I needed to cut them so that they would be seen down in the container, and the little carrot tops would kind of touch the bottom, but they wouldn't be all squished up in the bottom of the container either, if that makes any sense. I wanted it to look like a natural carrot just kind of falling down from the hydrangea. The fresh floral pieces that I had seen on Pinterest, they had done this with floral foam that you wet, and then you can put your carrots up into the floral foam, and it just looks so pretty and really fresh and Eastery and spring. And so that is kind of what I had in my mind. That is what I had in my vision. And so I just made sure that my carrots were into the floral foam. I had to kind of put them, because of the size of the carrots, I had to kind of put them at an angle. And I made sure that I hot glued the picks into the floral foam so that they would not suddenly just fall down. I picked up this resin set on Temu. It was a really good price at the time, and I can't even tell you what the price was because Temu changes their prices all the time. And I just know that the same size bottles they were selling at Dollar Tree in the $5 section, these were the same size bottles. And I like to keep some of this on hand just in case I want to do a little resin project. And so it was less than the $5 that I had seen at the Dollar Tree, and so I had purchased this little 2-pack of resin. I did not use a mixing cup. I just put my A and my B into my glass container because there was no point in wasting any of the resin by transferring it from a mixing cup right into this. And so I just used my glass container to put both of my A and B in, and then I just stirred that up with a bamboo skewer. I made sure that I had stirred it up until there were no more bubbles, and it looked just like water in the bottom of my container. You can use as much resin as you like. I just wanted my carrot tops to just kind of touch into the water. And I will tell you that some of my reindeer moss had fallen down into the resin, and I got kind of sidetracked at first, just kind of picking it out. And then I thought, no, it looks realistic to have some of that reindeer moss in there, because if you bring a carrot in from the garden, it's going to have a little bit of debris on it right before you wash it. And so I just let some of the reindeer moss fall down into the container, and then I set my top piece onto the top and waited for my resin to dry. I think that the carrots will move my decor on into spring. I love how this turned out. It was very cost effective to make, and it looks so springy and Eastery on my table, and I am in love with this. I was so pleased with how natural it looked, and until you get really close to it, you're not going to realize that those are faux carrots and faux hydrangeas sitting in faux water, and I can have my arrangement for a lot more days than just a few. So I am tickled pink that I can keep a fresh carrot arrangement out for a little bit longer and keep it through the spring season and not just the Easter season. With Easter being so early this year, I feel like my Easter needs to kind of go into the spring season a little bit as well. So don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell so that you know when I've uploaded my next video. Give me a thumbs up, and welcome to all my new subscribers. And I do love all the comments. I have said it before, I am just here to show you what I did and to give you some inspiration, and you let me know how you would have done it differently, what you would have added to it, and if you've made it different, what you did. So thank you so much for watching Crafts, Laughs, and Chaos.